Hello friends, in the previous class we have discussed the Lycopodium, habitat, morphology and the example for the Eurostachia and Raphelostachia. So that continue with the morphological structures, that's the root, stem and the leaves. The root are first formed and usually they are the consist of adventitious root. In case of the Eurostachia, the roots are arising from the basal part of the axis. So in case of the Raphelostachia, they are creeping axis, so they are consist all along the stem. And the stem is weaker and slender, and usually sometimes they are erect or sometimes maybe a pendant. So especially in case of the Eurostachia, it is a pendant in nature, and in case of the Raphelostachia, it is a creeping in nature. And branches of the stem are dichotomous and unequal in some time, and they consist of the bulbils and gammae, and usually stems and branches are covered with the common leaves, that's a microsporophyll will be present. Coming to the leaf, so the picture is showing the leaf structure. So usually leaves are simple, sessile, ligulate with the narrow apex and slightly broader base. They are mostly entire, but sometimes they are the margins in nature, and usually the size of the leaf varies from 2 to 10 nanometer, and usually sometimes they may be a minute in structure also. In case of the clavatum, the leaves are arranged in a closely spiral manner. In case of Lycopodium cernum, they are arranged in whorled structure, and usually in case of the Lycopodium campanillatum, it is a opposite decussate in nature. So that is a highly various in the arrangement. Coming to the anatomy of the root and stem, so first is we will study the anatomy of the root. So usually the anatomy of root, they mainly consist of three regions, that is the epidermis, cortex and the stellar region. The epidermis is the outermost layer and is a single layer, thin walled cells and unicellular hairs will be present on the root region, and usually they are characteristic features of the Lycopodium. The cortex is parenchymatous, and usually they are thick walled cells, and they help for the root. And stellar region, that's the central part of the region, they consist of the protostele. There are different types of stele in case of the pteridophyte, especially in case of the Lycopodium we will find the protostele, and usually they may be a diarch or triarch in nature when they matures. And usually the xylem is C-shaped or U-shaped structure, and usually phloem is in between these RNs. So just see the look at this is a C-shaped structure of the xylem, and usually the phloem will be at the center. So the outermost region, that's the root hairs, and below that you will consist of the epidermal single layer epidermis, and in the center you will find the outer cortex and the inner cortex region. And this is how the actually protoxylem, and this is the metaxylem region, and you will find the green color phloem region. And coming to the anatomy of the stem, so usually stem also divided into three regions, that is epidermis, cortex and the stellar region. So this is the outermost epidermal region. In the picture what you are seeing, it's a single layered epidermal region, and usually they consist of the cutinized walls. And the cortex region, below that the epidermis, you will find the cortex region that may be varies with the stem diameter and the size. And usually there are three types of the cortex will be present. Some of them are homozygous in nature, and some of them are heterozygous in nature. And usually if the homozygous means they will be uniform with the outer epidermis and the cortex region, but in case of the heterozygous condition, there are three different zones. That's in case of especially Lycopodium clavatum, the outer cortex consists of the hypodermis, and middle cortex consists of the parenchymatous, and inner cortex consists of the sclerenchymatous in nature. And usually the outermost region, that's a sclerenchymatous region, thin thick walled, and middle sclerenchymatous region will be there. So this is the picture is showing the complete anatomy of the stem. That's the outermost cuticle region, epidermis, and the thick walled cells, and the phloem and endodermis, pericycle, and the metaxylem will be present. And coming to the stellar region, so this is how actually the diversified in the nature. The stellar region consists of the endodermis. So endodermis is clearly recognized, and usually they are differentiate when it will be mature. And below the endodermis will consist of the pericycle, and there may be one or more layers, and in the center you will find the vascular bundle. In that you will arrangement of the xylem and the phloem in the different manner. So in case of the Lycopodium clavatum, so usually phloem occurs in a parallel rows spread by the stellar parenchyma, such as that is called as a usually plectostele. That means the center row what you are observing, that is surrounded, and the next one is star shaped stellar region will be there. That's actinostele in case of the Lycopodium plagmaria, and usually in case of the Lycopodium cernum we will find the mixed protostellar region. So like that, there are different species of the Lycopodium. They have the different type of stele. That may be a plectostele, that may be actinostele, or that may be a mixed protostele. You will find diversified stellar regions in the stem of the Lycopodium. In the main exam also, so they may be asked to explain the stellar region in the stem of the Lycopodium. So that's why you have to be remember, in case of the Lycopodium clavatum, you will find the plectostele. In case of Lycopodium plagmaria, you will find the actinostele, and in case of the Lycopodium cernum, the mixed protostele will be there. Usually xylem is differentiated into protoxylem and the metaxylem. The protoclasm usually is situated at the outer edge of the each xylem, and usually in the metaxylem will be in center. There is no cambium, so that's why the secondary growth does not occurs. So this is how about the anatomical structure of the Lycopodium.